right. I know, you think, how can those beautiful words be hard to write about? This is golden stuff. You hardly have to do anything. It's all right there. But an important part of my job, I believe, as a person of faith and as a minister in particular, is to know what is happening in the world. To keep up with the news, local and national and international. And I take that seriously. I mean, we can only care and pray about something if we first know about it, right? It's kind of hard to pray for nebulous things. It's kind of hard to give your heart and to love things that you don't know exist, or things that are foreign to you completely. But I have rules about my news getting, because I can't watch the news. Because the images haunt me. They stick in my head. They keep coming back at times when it's really inconvenient and really disruptive to my daily life and well-being. So I read my news at cbc.ca. And actually, you can get an app for that on your phone, which is kind of handy for, if you're getting your tires switched over or something like that. So I read my news. But I have rules around that too, because I don't read my news after dinner. Because at that point, that's just cause for concern and an extra reason not to sleep. And I'm sure you've heard by now, I'm not a morning person. So I don't read my news in the morning. Partly because I'm not awake enough to process that and to hold that, and partly because I don't want to start my day on a sour note. So I generally read the news sometime between 1 and 4. And I have to say that this week I'm pretty angry. I'm pretty hurt, I'm frustrated, I can't not say anything about it. It's overwhelming, the cumulative effect that all of the tragedy that is the news has come to. It's truly unbearable. And yet I read and we watch and we take part because we must. So right now, 1 out of 7 of our continents in the world is on fire. And because of that, we are losing absolutely unique aspects of creation. And others are becoming endangered. This kind of fire cannot be repaired. Creation is burning. And meanwhile, we have the yahoos that run the place. The yahoos that are in charge of big decisions. The ones that we call politicians and leaders. We have those people who are motivated not by care for creation or other people, but by corruption and greed, by power hunger. They're more busy trying to get more power than doing what they ought to do, than doing the job they were either elected for, or born for, or whatever the case may be. They are not doing their jobs. In fact, they are doing the opposite of their jobs, because I think it is those things that is adding to the hurt of our world, to the pain our planet is in. And they are acting more like kids who are squabbling with nuclear weapons than fully grown human beings with a lot of responsibility. And that's just the international news, right? Like, it doesn't take anyone with a master's degree or PhD or fine art skills to look around the neighborhood and to see bad news among our own community. There are people right now sleeping in the alcove right here. They're shivering because that's the best place they can find. And that's pretty bad. Like, this is not a quiet street, that's not even particularly dry. If that's the best place they can find to feel warm and safe, And then on the roads, because you all drove to get here, on the roads, drivers are being selfish and careless at the risk of other people's safety. I live near South Sumas and Vedder, and I joke you not, there is a major accident there that requires someone to get a tow truck, an ambulance, police, fire trucks, at least every week and a half. Mostly because people are careless and will not bother to slow down, because their lives are more important than the lives of those around them on the road. Oh! This stuff drives me nuts. And earlier this week, we had to protest for women's rights in the Fraser Valley. Like, I never, ever thought that my generation would have to do that again. I always thought that my mom's generation, my grandma's generation had done such great work, and they have. But we've taken a step backwards. It really feels like the world has gone to hell in a handbasket. And I'm really sick of this. It hurts. I'm tired of this. I'm angry. I'm in the mood to rant. To have a tirade. See? So angry I can't even speak straight. No, but I'm in the mood to be one of those hellfire preachers. You know, the kind with really long fingers that wave them around. The kind that make you feel a little bit crawly and uncomfortable inside. I'm in the mood to be more like John the Baptist than Jesus coming up out of the water. Because right before we get to our scripture today, right before Jesus comes up out of the water and the Spirit descends upon him like a dove, and the voice from heaven speaks, right before that, John is in the desert yelling at the Sadducees and Pharisees. He is on a fiery tirade. And he is speaking against the evils of his day. He is speaking in outrage. But the thing is, we can't stay in outrage. It's great to get all upset. It's great to get your blood boiling because you care so much. But it can't stay there. That's not sustainable. That's not healthy. That's not where it ends. Because as wonderful as it would be to tell our politicians they are a brood of vipers, as satisfying as that would be, that's not the end word. It can't be. Because if that's the end of it, there is no hope. See, outrage is a good thing at some times. So is anger. There's a place for it. But it's just the warm-up. We can't stay there. It's just the warm-up, and I'm not sure about you, but I'm ready for the exercise. I'm ready for the main event because I'm very warm. I'm very ready, and I'm ready to do something constructive with this outrage, this frustration over the state of our world. I'm tired of the darkness that is cast over normal people by the shadow of hate. I'm ready for the light that only Jesus can provide. I'm ready to break through the surface of water into a renewed life. I'm ready for God to say, "You are my beloved. With you I am well pleased." So let's also live into our baptism. Remember that time, or that time to come. Remember, you can come talk to me if you're interested in baptism. But remember, that font is not just a decoration. That is a symbol of our faith, our living faith, our active faith, our embodied faith. We don't always have it front and center like that. Sometimes it sits here, sometimes it's tucked away, but it is living water that can help us let Jesus' light shine through us. And sometimes it really is way easier to stay angry. We're stubborn people. You don't really want to give up on that. Being angry is satisfying sometimes. You're like, yeah, I'm into this. I'm feeling righteous. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling empowered. So it can be really easy to stay in that spot. It can be easy to turn our backs on the light. But we cannot. And we must not do that. Because that is not the end. That is not the last word. There is always hope. We must not give in and let hate have the last word. So, this is my challenge to you. I double dog dare you to be shiny. To open yourselves to a point where Christ's light can shine through you. And that means simple things. That means making eye contact with people. Saying, I care that you're alive and here right now. I care that you have a life of your own. It means holding doors for people, even when we're in a hurry. It means not cutting people off or rushing to get through the light on time. It means saying a kind word, sharing a coffee, giving a hug, sitting in silence with somebody because they just need company. I double dog dare you to not let this darkness and this muck that the world has developed, that the world seems to be sitting in, don't let that have the last word. Follow in Jesus' footsteps. Because the baptism of Jesus, that was just the beginning. That wasn't the goal. Jesus wasn't magically saved at that point. That's a big theological debate, and we can get into that later. But that was the beginning of his ministry. In fact, that's the first time we met Jesus as an adult. It is not the end. It is renewal. It is hope incarnate. It is another chance to do good and to let that divine light shine. So let's take a cue from Jesus. Let's try to show the world that love is greater than any empire or any chest puffing by world leaders. Let's show that forgiveness has more power than any position of authority. Let's show that there is hope and that the brood of vipers do not get the spotlight. The ones who are doing the ministry do. And it's the ones doing the ministry, the ones sharing love, sharing kindness, sharing forgiveness. It is those ones. It is us who can have a greater positive impact. So let the light of Jesus shine through you, especially when it's dark and mucky and the world seems to be going to hell in a handbasket. Because that light is good, and there is power in it, and grace can be shared with every being. So shine, break through the darkness.